If you're a young guy in your 20s and you're currently struggling in life, then I highly recommend you watch this video. If you are feeling lost in life and you feel like you don't really know where your life is going and you're kind of facing a quarter life crisis right now, well, the good news is I'm here to help and I'm here to teach you guys some life lessons that I've learned throughout my 20s that I'm sure will greatly benefit you, okay? Because I've made a lot of mistakes throughout my 20s and I still am making some mistakes, believe it or not. Mistake number one that many guys in the 20s make is thinking they don't have enough time. You know, there is no one more stressed than a 20-year-old who thinks they don't have enough time. Believe me, you have enough time. You know, I hear stories all the time of guys that are 21, 22 saying, you know, that they're not rich enough yet, or they're still working a 9 to 5, or that they haven't made $1 million yet, or they're not driving the dream car. Like a lot of guys in their 20s right now are very brainwashed. They think they need it all straight away. They think they need to be the next big thing straight away. And you know, social media has got a lot of young guys thinking this way. You know, you see like a 21-year-old guy driving a Lamborghini, and all of a sudden you feel like you're a failure even though you're not. You know, like your 20s are not designed for you to be rich. Your 20s are meant to be used as stepping stones to help improve your life and help, you know, not repeat the same mistakes that you made. Like your 20s is supposed to be used as a stepping stone to not like make mistakes in the future. Like your 20s is meant to be full of mistakes that you learn from. It's very rare to hear a 20-year-old living a very good life without making any mistakes at all, because your 20s are designed for you to make mistakes. I feel like a lot of young guys in their early 20s right now are very hard on themselves. They feel like if they have not, you know, achieved it all at a very young age, they are unsuccessful and they're a failure. And this is why a lot of young guys are falling into depression, always very miserable and hate themselves. It's simply because they're trying to rush the process. You know, when I was in my early 20s, I was the same. You know, I made some very risky decisions in my early 20s and I got myself into a lot of debt. You know, I was taking loans out from the bank. I was taking loans out from family, trying to start different businesses, trying to leave my job as soon as possible. And to this day, I'm still paying off those loans and debts that I owe. So in your early 20s, it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to not be where you're at right now. You know, just let it go and relax. Mistake number two, and this is a mistake that I often see guys making all the time, and it's not understanding how to use their money wisely. There is nothing more dangerous than a guy in his early 20s getting rich, and the reason for this is because they don't know what to do with their money. I always see people on social media, guys that are in their early 20s who have made it in life. They spend money on things that they really don't need. They buy flashy cars, they go live in very fancy apartments, they're living way above their means, and their ego gets way too high. And when they do end up losing it all, they end up getting very depressed and very anxious, and they don't know how to use their money wisely. And if you're a guy in your early 20s, it's very important that you invest early on. Put money into crypto, put money into stocks, put money somewhere safe, and let that money work for you. Let that money be an employee for you. You know, let that money compound. Because when I was in my early 20s, I made a little bit of money from businesses here and there, and I was doing pretty well. But I blew a lot of that money in things that I didn't really need. I was buying new shoes, I was buying new clothes, I was just buying things I really didn't need. And now when I look back at it, I'm like, damn, you know, I should have put the money into stocks or crypto and I would have 10x my money by now. So the best advice I can give to you when it comes to your finances is just don't spend it on things you don't need. Be smart with your money. Making money is not easy, okay? So every time you get money, you need to treat it properly. You need to put it somewhere safe. You need to let it work for you. Don't be one of those guys in his early 20s that's just out there spending money trying to impress girls and buying the fanciest stuff, you know, because a lot of people nowadays and a lot of young guys nowadays, you know, are broke, but they try to look successful. Like usually the people who try to look rich are usually the most broke. So don't be that guy. The next one, and this one is something that even I still struggle with from time to time, if I'm being completely honest, is chasing women. You know, look, we're gonna chase women. You know, it's in our genes, it's in our biology. We're gonna chase women. But it's about how you manage it. Okay, you don't want to be one of those guys who's constantly chasing women, hoping to impress his mates or trying to get his body count up. This is just a huge distraction. Women are a massive distraction, especially when you're in your 20s, because this is a time of age where you need to build the foundation, where you need to build your life up. Okay, your 20s is either make or break, and you cannot screw it up. I see so many guys simping over women, spending heaps of money on women, hundreds of dollars a week to try to get laid, when they instead could have put the money towards crypto or could have put the money towards an investment. One woman will never be happy, and no matter how much you do for them, they will always be ungrateful. Don't think that if you have a little bit of money, you could impress them, because there's always a bigger shark out there who probably has more money than you and he was better looking than you, who will get that woman instead of you, okay? Never get too comfortable. Don't think that, chasing women is the only thing that matters, because it really doesn't. Believe it or not, women want high value men. So once you've made it, once you're successful, once you have the looks, the money, the body, whatever, then women will come to you, and believe me, they will. So stop chasing women when you've got nothing to prove yet, and just focus on building your craft and focus on building your life. And I cannot stress this enough. I see so many young guys destroying and ruining their lives over women. It's not worth it, boys, okay? Just focus on your purpose, focus on your grind. And the last thing that I really want to go over is make sure that you dopamine detox. Now, what I mean by this is stop trying to chase the highs all the time. Okay, you need to understand that delayed gratification is what helps build your successful life. Okay, so stop trying to make money quick. Stop trying to get jacked quick. Stop wanting things right away, because this usually leads to bad habits, because you're constantly trying to chase the next dopamine hit. Okay, and that refers back to how these young guys are buying Lamborghinis, new clothes, blah, blah. They're always craving that dopamine hit. In today's society, the way things are designed, it's designed to keep you hooked on and addicted. Scrolling on your phone, eating bad food, all of this is designed to keep you weak and distracted. It fries the dopamine receptors, and that makes you become lazy and weak, and that's why you can't get anything done. Okay, the best piece of advice I can give you is always, every single day as a non-negotiable, set 2 to 3 hours aside to read books, hit the gym, and work on building a business. Stop falling for these distractions. Stop doing things that you're not supposed to do, such as video gaming, or watching TikTok all day, or watching YouTube all day, or watching movies all day. Do things. You're not saying you shouldn't do these things at all, but there's a time and place for it, boys. You can't be doing this every day and expect to be successful. You have to set that aside and focus on your purpose and your grind. Okay. Me, at one point when I was in my early 20s, I was always chasing the next dopamine hit. I always wanted to make money real quick. I was eating bad food. I just was always constantly chasing that high. My brain was just fried, like I literally had a lizard brain. And it really did negatively affect my life. I was always living in constant anxiety, always depressed. Whereas now, I focus on God, I focus on reading, I do things that actually benefit me. Right now, I'm reading a book called How to Calm Your Mind and Body. It's currently a book that I'm reading, and it's a very good book. And I try to read a book every single month when I can, or every few months, depending on how fast I finish the book. But the moral of the story is, you don't want to be chasing dopamine. You want to focus on the bigger picture. You want to focus on becoming the best version of yourself. You want to focus on building that business, building that body, building up your looks. The more you invest in yourself, the better, okay? So stop wasting your potential on things that are not going to benefit you in the future, because I'm so sick and tired of seeing young guys in their 20s wasting their prime years on shit that is not going to benefit them, okay? So those are some of the mistakes that I made in my early 20s, and I really hope you don't make the same mistakes as well. So I really hope you found this video helpful. If you did, I would really appreciate it if you hit the like and subscribe button if you want to see more of this type of content.